Hello, beautifuls. We have heard a lot through mainstream media, through religious studies, and especially in the spiritual New Age movement about the ego. And if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know that I am not an ego basher. And yet the ego is a conversation or a topic that many people find confusing. So that's what our conversation is about today, the ego. And the ego is neither good or bad. It is either balanced or imbalanced. And we'll know where our ego is at on that scale when we judge anything. The moment we judge anything, the ego is imbalanced. The ego, when it is balanced, is neutral. So what is the ego? Well, some people say it's the personality, and there are many theories and different ways in which people use the word ego. But when we're talking about ego from a spiritual aspect, the ego is a tool or a bridge for the soul and spirit as it is having this earthly experience. What the ego does is it was designed to focus our attention in the physical, to translate inner sensations and feelings into specific forms. Now, when the ego is not balanced, it interprets those specific forms as good or bad. And when the ego is in balance, it understands that everything is just an experience. Very different thought, isn't it? And when the ego is imbalanced, it is trying to control. It tries to distract us, because when we come into this world as a human, as a physical vessel, we have a longing. We have a longing for love and connection, because what we came from was the ultimate connection. And so some aspect of us has that longing, and that longing and desire for love and connection is not wrong. However, the ego tends to hijack that experience and says, hey, you can find the answer to that longing for love, for that feeling of separation in external things, in external relationships. And don't look within. No way, because when you look within, you're going to see hurt. You're going to see pain and suffering. And so it offers a momentary solution. But in this place of momentary solution, it actually starts to erode away our self-esteem and self-confidence, because we actually can't control any of those external things. And so what it does is it creates an illusion. It distorts our need for love and acceptance, love and connection, to acceptance, competition, right? And from those places, we always have to do more. We always have to show up more, and we become a human doing, and we forget about our human beingness. And yet, when the ego is imbalanced, we understand that need, that desire for love, that's coming from within, and it can only be satisfied from within. We are longing to reconnect with ourself, the divinity within, and reestablish the connection with all things. And in order to do that, we have to look within. We have to see what are the fears that are coming up? What are the fears that the ego has clung to, that the ego has told us is our reality? And when we start this process, this is the start of our awakening, because we realize that the desires of that imbalanced ego can never satisfy. And we are on a hamster wheel, so to speak. But when we tune in and we go in and we start to heal those wounds, and we all have wounds. The moment that we came into this human existence, there was a wound. There was a separation, and that needs to be healed. And so really, anytime that we are judging anything, it means that we are trying to control the experience. And anytime we are clinging to control, be that individuals, be that governments, it means we have a fear of losing control. And what is our fear if we don't have control? From the ego standpoint, there is so much to be feared. And yet, when our ego is balanced, we can accept things as they're coming. The other thing that we can look for to see whether our ego is balanced or imbalanced is our ability to accept our emotions and our thoughts. Because the ego does not like thoughts, feelings, and emotions because they're unpredictable. More so feelings and emotions, right? And the ego thrives on control and predictability, comfort. And when we have emotions coming up, they're not always predictable. And so the ego will judge them. It's good or bad. And when we are in a balanced ego, we can observe those emotions, all of them, without judgment, and understand that they are a call for attention. They are a call to look within, that something within is needing healing, is needing compassion, is needing forgiveness, is needing tenderness. I thank you so much for listening to this perspective on the ego. And if you enjoyed it, as always, I appreciate a like or a share. That really helps me out. It helps spread an awareness, and it helps support what I love to do. I thank you so much for being here, for your kindness and your generosity, sharing your time and energy with me. And until we speak again, please be well.